Hey people, how are we doing? This is a wee random one. It wasn't pre-planned or anything like that, so might be quite quiet, although I can see people saying hi already. So hi Xena, hi Sun, hi Pallavi, hello lovely Jamie. How are you? Wandering Mountain Bardic Path. Um, I hope we've already got questions coming in. Pallavi, I'm doing okay, thank you. How are you doing? So yeah, like I say, this was just a random last minute thing. I felt like throwing some cards for people. Don't know how long I'll be live for. But we'll see. Shall we say we'll go for an hour and see how we go. But yeah, have a look at the what's scrolling along the bottom. So I do ask if you're wanting to read, and if you could just pop it in capitals for me. Who's asked one? Xena, don't worry about putting anything in capitals. And Sun, same for you. I've just seen your question come up because I can't see your question. It's not being picky. It's just so that they pop out and so as I don't miss anything. But I can see both Xena's question and I can see Sun's question. Sunshine, I can see you're asking if you can ask a question. Don't need to ask. Just pop it in the chat in capitals and or tag me at Elemental Cartomancy so I can see it. And yeah, you can absolutely. Oh, thanks, Xena. So yeah, let's fire out the main purpose of this is to just sling some cards, answer some questions, get some readings done. And I know that you guys will chat away in the chat whilst whilst I'm doing this, and that's cool. But apologies in advance if there's anything I don't catch. I do want to say before I kick off and before I start readings, obviously I know the day that it is today. It's the 11th of September or 9/11. I want to acknowledge all of the people that were lost and that horrible day 20 years ago, and offer out my heartfelt condolences to all those people that were lost and all those who were affected by that horrible, horrible day. And yeah, I know that a lot of people, especially a lot of my friends over the pond in the United States, will be, it's a tough day. So yeah, I'm here for you if you need to reach out. I just want you to know that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. I just didn't want it to go unacknowledged. But yeah, hope everybody's doing okay. Hi to everyone that's here. I can see Jonathan, I can see Jamie, I can see Xena, Sunshine22, Sun, I can see Pallavi, and anyone else that I've not said hi to. Apologies. The chat does tend to scroll quite fast in these types of lives. Let's kick off then. So let me change it to the table cam, and let's start. So the first question I can see is Xena. Does Thomas like me? Like me, close to love. Okay, I know you. Does does he like me? Like me? Does he like me? Like me? Okay. So Xena, you probably remember this from when I was live before. I'm a bit, a bit funny about doing what I would call a third party reading. For anyone who's here right now and is listening, what I call a third party reading is when you're asking me to read for someone else. Okay, so for someone else's feelings, for someone else's business, basically. Now, because we're essentially dealing with the relationship between yourself and this Thomas, I'm happy to just rejig it a wee bit. So for example, let's say, shall we pull some cards for the relationship between yourself, Xena, and Thomas, and see what comes up, and that what comes up might well answer your question. But what I will refuse to answer is questions like, and I'm being extreme here, but like, is my neighbour having an affair with his wife's sister? Inquiring minds want to know, just questions like that have got nothing to do with the person asking the question. It's not really questions that I tend to answer. So anyway, With that said, Xena, let's have a look at the dynamic of the relationship between yourself and Thomas. Hopefully, you're cool with me doing that, and we'll see what comes up for you. Okay, so we've got the Three of Wands. This is telling you to act. This is telling you don't just sit back, don't just sit on YouTube going on to lives and asking questions and free tarot readings. What does he feel about me? This is telling you to actually grab that bull by the horns and actually take some action. What do you feel for him? That's probably a slightly more important question. If you know how you feel about him, then go for it. Either way, if you know you feel something for him and you want something to happen, this card is all about, for me, this is the kick up the arse card. This is the card that comes up when it's telling me have the confidence to actually act, and do something. Don't just sit back and feel, oh, should I, shouldn't I, am I good enough? This card is telling you you're absolutely good enough. So if you feel like you want something to happen between you and Thomas, then absolutely go for it. Now, the advice card is the Queen of Swords. So she's telling you to think rationally, to act rationally. Don't go batshit crazy. Don't go all balls to the wall and I don't know, propose to some guy that's spoken to you once. It's not like that. It's not telling you, the world is your oyster and you should just go and do whatever you want. No, we need to kind of act within the realms of the world that we're living in. We need to act reasonably and rationally. The Queen of Swords is a great card to come up if you're looking for some guidance. She's not the most tolerable of people who don't take responsibility for their own actions, their own choices. So that's what I would say. That it's asking you to think rationally, to be, to look at the situation as it is, and act within your means. But this is a real confidence booster to you. And you've got the Six of Cups coming out as the kind of the direction that things are going in. I feel as though a lot of the time this is a kind of a only time will tell type card. That's generally what it tends to be saying to me. It's my experience of what this card means. It might be that my cards just don't want to say what the future is, and that could be because a lot of the times, me telling you one thing is going to influence your actions, and they don't really want to do that, you know. So I feel as though all of the oomph is in this part of the reading, and the kind of you have the confidence to act if if that's what you want to do, and just make sure that you're thinking things through. That you're thinking, right, okay, if I do this, what are the possible consequences? And as long as it's not you're doing anything terrible or you're doing anything that's going to affect anyone else in a negative way, then you go for it. You have that confidence. Okay. Oh, that was helpful. So that was Xena. The next question we have is, I think I actually said it, didn't I? I said I have Xena and I have someone else. So let me just have another scroll. Okay, Sunshine, you're the next one that I can see what's going on with the dating website. How come I'm not getting any messages to meet up? I'm confused. Okay, dokie, let's have a wee look. So for Sunshine, what's going on with that dating website? Okay, got the Page of Swords coming up. Are you definitely not getting any messages? I mean, the Page of Swords, among other things, is the messages card. And the advice is to sit tight. So maybe the idea here is that messages are going to come in, things are going to happen. Sometimes what the page is saying to you, what they're saying to you is think outside the box, think a bit differently, approach things a bit different, and you're maybe going to have to, adopt a different mindset. The current way that you're going about things isn't quite working. So if, for example, you're sitting on a dating website and you're sending out 20 hi to one person, hi to the second person, hi to the third person, if, for example, now I'm not saying this is the case, but if you're sitting with one of these profiles that doesn't have a picture and you're just sending out hi, then your page might be saying to you, right, you want to think about it a wee bit differently, would you respond to someone who was going about it the way you are? Okay. If not, then maybe you want to change things up a wee bit. Maybe there wants to be maybe there does want to be a fresh kind of a mindset. Maybe you want to add a wee a wee glamorous picture in there or something, and say more than just. Now, I'm using that as an example. Obviously, I don't know that that's what you're doing. You could well have the nice selfie in there, and you could be saying, "Hi, how are you? What's going on? This is what." Um, I don't know, but it just feels like it's try and think about things a wee bit differently. Try and look at it maybe from a slightly different point of view. Your advice card is the Four of Swords, which it's not telling you that you need to go out and make major changes. It's actually, like I said, it's telling you to sit tight. So it makes me think that things are going in the right direction generally, and there isn't any massive kind of a changes that need to be made. But there you go, you've got your Four of Swords there, and then your outcome card is your Emperor. So that does perhaps suggest that someone is coming in, something is going to happen. Um, the Emperor. Well, I'm going to clean my camera because I'm not sure if it's the camera, but I feel as though things are just a tad blurry. Sorry about that. Is that better? I think it is a wee bit. Sometimes the Emperor can be a bit of a control freak, so just be wary of that. Of that coming into your life if that's not a particular energy that you're looking for. But if you are maybe a bit, I mean, for me, I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, so there are some Emperor aspects to my partner that he brings into my life that work great for me. Not, I would never go as far as to say he's a controlling person, but there are maybe some Emperor tendencies that he has that just balance me out nicely. Okay. So I do see something happening there, but I think it's for you to decide whether that's the energy that you want to bring in. Okay. Hope that was helpful for you. Oh, right. The next one that I see is Pallavi, I think. Sunshine. Oh no, sorry, Sun. Sun, you've asked the question. Yeah, that was the second one, and then you retracted it to put it in caps. Right, cool. Thanks for doing that. What are my partner's current feelings? Again, I'll say the same thing that I said to Xena. I'm happy to examine the dynamic between the two of you. I'm not so happy to just go at it from his point of view, but as far as examining that relationship, that bond between the two of you, to me, that's very much your business, and I'm happy to look into that for you. So let's look at the relationship between Sun and Sun's partner. Okay. Okay, things maybe moving a wee bit slowly, maybe a wee bit slower than you would like, and a bit slower than what you feel that you're entitled to. Um, the Knight of Wands, looking at him from the outside, and especially when you look at him beside his other knights, the counterparts, the Knight of Cups, especially Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords, you think, what's going on with him? He's a really slow moving character. Is he really even doing anything at all? Is there anything going on? The thing is, yeah, I can assure you there is a lot going on behind the scenes with the Knight of Pentacles. He's just very, very kind of a decisive and not decisive. He's very kind of a tactical about the actions that he takes. So there is a lot going on there. You maybe can't quite see everything that's going on beneath the surface. But generally, the Knight of Pentacles gives me good feelings. I feel as though he's a good guy. He's reliable. He's dependable, and it's an energy to stick with. Um, yeah, I mean, the Hermit again. The Hermit is coming up and telling you, that you don't need to take any drastic action here. The Hermit is just kind of a spend some time. If you feel as though he's kind of a busy doing his thing, away off doing his thing, then that's going to give you some time to work on yourself. It's going to give you some me time or you time, just to kind of chill out, to relax, to reflect on the relationship thus far, to deal with all the other shit that you've got going on in your life other than the relationship with your partner. And I'm sorry if I'm saying he, it's because I've got a masculine presenting knight that I'm saying he, but obviously I don't know if your partner's a he or a they or whatever. But yeah, this is a good time for you to spend some time on yourself. the Fool in the future does suggest that there's some new beginnings coming up. There's something new going to happen. It might be, given that we're asking about the relationship, it might be that the relationship goes off in a slightly different direction. Maybe your Knight of Pentacles is planning something. You know, you never know. Might be planning something exciting that just takes things in a different direction, or this could just be like after spending some time, you know, working on yourself in that hermit space, that you take some time off, you know, on your own or not on your own, but you take some time doing something new, you know, bringing new energy into your life. Because like you look at the geometrical kind of the sacred geometrical representation that we have down here, we have the seed of life. Or the flower of life, one of the two. So that's all about new beginnings. It's about new energy, that spark, not unlike the Big Bang that started everything. So definitely something new coming into your life. I want to say don't worry so much about what's happening with your other half. They do seem pretty genuine to me, pretty good intentions. Um, yeah, I mean, I hope that was helpful. Kind of did answer your question anyway, I hope. But things are looking good. Just like I say, use that opportunity to just spend some time on yourself, some self-care, some self-love. We all need that every now and then, don't we? Um, okay. Okay, so Palava, what's coming next for me? Your Aries and your Libra rising. So, oh, next in love. Well, I'm glad I looked back at that and saw that there. So, what's coming next in love for me? And I'm still right up the top of the chat, people. So, if there's other people in here and you're chatting away and I'm not seeing it, I do apologise. So, what's coming next in love for Pallavi, who is Aries and Libra rising? Let's see. Um, to be honest, I feel as though the cards want you concentrated on yourself, on your, you know, on your career, on whatever shit you've got going on just now. Your Eight of Pentacles is very much business as usual. It doesn't scream, you know, new love coming in. The only water card, the only kind of emotional card that we have here is the Five. And that does suggest a change up. It does suggest a bit of a shake up, but you know, I'm not really sure how I feel about, you know, the energy that that's bringing in. Um, so yeah, I feel as though the cards want you focused on you. They want you focused on your career. The Chariot and the advice position. Let's think about that for a second. So the Chariot is kind of like get your shit together card. Um, the Chariot kind of talks about, you know, how in all of our lives, not just me, not just you, but everyone, we've all got loads and loads of stuff that we balance, loads of things, loads of different areas that we deal with. So for me, I've got like my job, got my relationship with my partner, I've got like my house, you know, got responsibilities to my family, and countless other things, and my friends, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of things that we all deal with every single day, and the chariot, the imagery that we see depicted here is the, you know, the two horses, and the job of the charioteer is to keep the two horses pointing in the same direction in order to drive the chariot forward, and he does that through sheer willpower, you know, sheer force of will. Um, the horses basically represent all of that shit that we all have going on. And you know, the two horses constantly wanting to you know, go off in different directions is basically like when the different areas of your life come out of balance. Okay, so if my workload, my professional life becomes really demanding, then I might find my, you know, my responsibilities to my family suffer because I don't have as much time to spend on that. The chariot is telling me, right, and let's bring it to you now. We're not talking about me here. The chariot is telling you, you know, that's kind of something that you want to really bring under control. So if you feel as though there's something in your life that's really taking up loads and loads and loads of your time right now, then it's maybe you're going to have to work on that before you're going to be able to spend a lot of time bringing a new love or a new relationship into your life and actually giving it the, you know, the time that it's due, the time that it deserves. Because currently, the, you know, right now where we are, like I say, we've got the Five of Cups. It is a card of, you know, of things changing up. It's a card. It can be a card of like quite sad feelings, sorrow, loss, that kind of a thing. So right now, I'm not seeing like big explosions. I'm not seeing, the big um, love coming in. I feel as though it's very much you're focused on your career, you're focused on your professional life, or you're focused on whatever it is that you're focused on right now, and that's where it wants you to be. It wants you to get all of those things in control before we can start looking at um, you know, giving it a lot of time to those more emotional connections, perhaps. So I imagine that's probably not the answer we're looking for, and I apologise for that. But hopefully that this has resonated and it's helped, and hopefully I've given you at least with that chariot card, with that kind of a getting all your kind of a getting everything in line before you can start moving forward. Hopefully that's giving you a bit of advice that you can work on. Um, Thank you so much for your question. Okay, and you're a Libra rising, so that suggests to me that balance is important to you. So yeah, hopefully that resonates. So Jonathan, Jamie, Sunshine, the new subscriber. Thank you very much. Wild Vintage Soul. Hi there. How you doing? Let's see. General energy of the cards for me, says the lovely Jamie. Oh Christ! Half my deck wants to jump out at you, Jamie. Okay, that's the general energy. Oh, King of Wands. This is, for me, the King of Wands is very much about knowing when to act. Okay, you've got two Kings coming out. Right, King of Wands, a lot of charisma, a lot of passion, a lot of energy. Okay. Look at that lion in the background and think of the lion as a creature, as a being, both physical and spiritual. I don't know how you feel, Jamie. I know you're an animal person, but for me, it just gives me chills. It fills me with this kind of a awe almost. So that is the general energy that I'm seeing around you right now. Quite often for me, the King of Wands, because he has that passion and that charisma, that really linked to that fire element, he's the kind of person that wants to be constantly doing something. He wants to be constantly acting. Quite often, what he needs to remember is that sometimes he's a king. He has that social responsibility. And if you're constantly on the front line doing the work, then you're not spending a lot of time doing the king things that you need to do, overseeing the kingdom, making sure that order is maintained. Because if you're in the front lines, if you're zoomed in to the picture, who's looking at the bigger picture? You know, so quite often that's the advice that comes with him. With that said, the advice card that comes out in the spread is the sun. That is, enjoy the fire, enjoy the heat, enjoy the light, enjoy that joy, that happy energy whilst it's there. So whilst there is some advice that comes with this card, I feel as though this is like, that charisma and that passion that we associate with the fire element. Enjoy that and make the most of the healing and just the joy and the boost that energy gives you in your life. Things will settle. You'll find yourself being that responsible king energy before long, and that your King of Pentacles is telling you that. He's the very kind of a very responsible king. His kingdom will be maintained to the nth degree. There'll be nothing out of place. Nothing will get by him. Um, and yeah, that's kind of the direction that things are going in. You might find yourself, Jamie, in a place soon where you have to be really responsible. And, I mean, it feels weird even these words coming out of my mouth, but if there's such a thing as like boring, responsible Jamie, mature and grown up Jamie, then I feel as though there's going to be a need to see her soon. But for now, whilst the passion and the energy is high, then your job is just to enjoy that. So I hope that helps. Oops. Cards are flying everywhere. How are we all doing anyway? Have we all got some sort of beverage? I've actually got two. I've got a gin and coke, and I'm also drinking a cup of tea. I've just spilled my cup of tea everywhere. That wasn't very clever. Right. What lovely person is next? That was where Jamie said general energy cards for me. Vintage. Sorry, I keep wanting to call you Vintage Wild Soul, but it's Wild Vintage Soul. So hi Chris, great to be here. Do you see a move coming for me, please? I will certainly have a look and we'll see what the cards say. But just out of curiosity, is this a moving house? A move? Well, I suppose it is. A moving location, won't it? But just curious if there's more specifics. Palava, I can see that you've put a message saying I am focusing on my career. So that's good because that seems to be what the cards wanted you to do for now. So, keep your eye on that ball. And, like I'd said, work on that kind of a balance and stuff. The deck is the Light Seers Tarot. This is it here by Chris Ann. It's an amazing deck. Right, Wild Vintage Soul. Do we see a move coming for you? Well, let's have a look. There might be a choice that has to be made first before that can really happen. Knight of Pentacles. No, to be honest with you, with these cards, I want to say no, and the reason is there needs to be a choice that's made first. Do you see the two birds? She's tied to the two birds. And those represent two kind of in two minds about something, two different points of view. It can actually sometimes it can represent literally two other people who are she's piggy in the middle, she's stuck in the middle between these two forces, and she can't move either way for it. Okay. Now she's determined to stay neutral, to stay Switzerland. Um, and she doesn't want to, agree or disagree with either of the two, what's represented by the two ravens here, by the two birds. But because of that, she remains tied to them. Now she doesn't have the strength to free herself from both of them at the same time. What she needs to do is make a decision. There needs to be some sort of decision made here. There's a stalemate. It'll probably involve a clash. If you think about what happens after the Two of Swords, we get the Three of Swords, and that is the almighty clash that comes, to break this stalemate. That's going to have to happen before you can move forwards, I'm afraid. Because, like I say, you don't have the strength. No one has the strength to free themselves from these two birds, at the same time. But if a decision is made, it might be a painful decision. You might make the decision and instantly regret it. But if a decision is made and you're freed from one of those birds, then you'll have at least you'll be able to make the decision as to whether you free yourself from the second one, you know, or do you go with it? Do you stick with that second raven? But right now, whilst you're kind of trying to maybe play your cards close to your chest, or whilst you're trying to stay neutral about something, that is keeping you from being able to really move off in any direction. Um, your Knight of Pentacles is a very kind of, like I was saying, he's the slowest of all the knights. I was saying that earlier on, can be quite a stagnant energy sometimes, and it's that kind of a energy where you just want to grab it and say, for God's sake, will you just move? It's the red light, it's when you're stuck at the traffic lights, it's when you're stuck at that stoplight for ages and you begin to think, is there something wrong here? Are these lights broken? Is that why they're not turning green? It's that kind of a stagnant, that stop energy. And it's like if this was any of the other nights, then I'd be going by now. I would be fine. We would be moving. But that blooming Knight of Pentacles just doesn't. What's he even doing? He's off his horse. Why is he walking about? He's got a horse there that could take him faster. Now, obviously, we know this that if you do horse riding and stuff, then you do need to give the horse a rest. That's the only way that you can kind of have the longevity to actually get to your destination is by making sure your horse is in good health. So there will be method to what this knight is doing. There will be method to where you are just now and where you are stuck in this place. But I'm picking up on the feeling, the frustration almost. And again, with your direction card, with your outcome card, the Seven of Pentacles is a card that talks about doing all the work before you can reap the rewards. And just with the general feel of that spread, I feel as though there's still some work to be done, but it is a card that promises results if you do the work. So concentrate on this decision, this stalemate, breaking this stalemate, this Two of Swords energy that you need to break your way out of, because that's the key, I feel. So I hope that resonates. I hope that makes sense to you. And yeah, obviously I hope it helps and helps you kind of get yourself to where you want to be. Oh, the chat just jumped. You can see that I've got the lovely Regina, I've got the lovely Kristen, and lots and lots and lots of other people. So hi to everyone that's here. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this is very last minute. Right, where were we there? So that was Jamie, that was Wild Vintage Soul. You have visible pictures, Sunshine 22, that's good. Pallavi's focused on the careers, the balance. So balance is the key. Good, you understand, that's good. Elaine Tat says, does Yas still have feelings for me? Let me just say again, Elaine, in terms of the questions that I'll answer, I don't do third party readings, so I'm not going to snoop on someone else's feelings, thoughts, that kind of a thing. Now, given that we're talking about the dynamic between you and someone else, I'm happy to look at the relationship between the two of you, but what I don't want to do is just hone in on that other person. So if it's okay, I'll tweak your question and I'll be reading the cards for, the dynamic of the relationship between the two. And to be honest, 9 times out of 10, we do get the answer to your question when we do that. It's just that it's just me being funny, to be honest with you. Seven of Wands just popped out. Right, okay. So the dynamic of the relationship between Elaine and Yas. Okay, King of Cups. Not looking all that negative. We do have the King of Swords though, right, okay. Okay. The card that jumped whilst I was shuffling was the Seven of Wands. So let's first talk about that. That is a card that talks about being on a different level from, whatever it is that's going on. We see the person in their bubble with all of the wands kind of coming at them. And that bubble represents, you being either taking the high ground or just protecting yourself from the stuff that's going on. It can be a defensive card, but it can also be a card that's telling you, you've got this, what you're doing right now, you're doing the right thing. So just to throw that out there, does suggest to me that you and Yas are maybe on different levels right now, and there might be a reason for that. When I look at these two kings together, that might be suggestive of the reason, because it suggests to me that at some points, things are really kind of going. Your King of Cups is your kind of a really good relationship card. This represents someone who's really emotionally mature, available, who's really just altogether a good family person and who is going to be there for you. Your King of Swords, on the other hand, can be quite cold. They can come off quite cold, quite just really harsh. They're really big on the facts and the cold hard facts of the situation. Sometimes in a relationship that can be a bit of an issue. either which way, we're still dealing with a king, so we're still dealing with someone who's mature, who is responsible. But I'm getting the feeling that there's maybe a bit of a kind of a this is running hot and cold. Sometimes things are great, sometimes things are difficult. The third card, I feel as though the answer is in the third card and maybe in the jumper as well. The Hanged Man suggests taking some time out, or just looking at things from a different perspective. That is essentially what the Hangman is all about. We think of Odin on the tree for that day, um, you know, pushing himself to the limit in order to gain new enlightenment. Okay, so you're going to have to take some sort of new perspective. It could be that there needs to be a wee bit of a break in order to have a look at the relationship and see it for what it is. And it might be that when you take this perspective, you think, oh, do you know what? It's not actually that bad. Yas is a really great person. They've really kind of are looking out for me. They've got my best interests at heart, and they are a really warm-hearted person. It could be, however, that when you take that alternative look, that you see that, you know, not a bad person, that they've kind of got all their shit together, but they're quite a cold person, and they're not going to give me that warmth that I'm looking for. Um, and therefore, I perhaps need to think about my options. That's the key. You need to take that, and I'm not saying that it has to be a break. I'm not for a single second telling you there has to be a break. But what I'm saying is that you need to look at things differently. You need to somehow remove yourself from the situation. It might be talking to a friend, talking to someone who you know is really kind of gives mature and good advice. Given that this is in the advice position, maybe you need to talk to someone who's going to give it to you straight, who's not going to kind of make things all fluffy and nice for you. They're just going to tell you exactly how it is. Maybe that's the alternative point of view that they're asking you to get. But anyway, Hanged Man is your key there. It's that taking that different perspective, that different point of view in order to see the way forward. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. And again, I'm sorry I didn't answer your question word for word as you asked it. See, so that was Elaine's question. Next, we've got Sunbla Gafoor. How next week will be for me. So we're wanting a wee general for next week. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're maybe going to have a bit of a difficult week next week. All Pentacles cards, so that makes me think as though we're talking about either finances or just general kind of a mundane, down to earth stuff. Your Five of Pentacles is telling me that at surface level, on first kind of a glance, you maybe don't have as much resources as what you want. So it might be that you don't have as much money as what you want. Maybe payday, we're coming up to the end of the pay month, and you don't have as much money as you want to spend. Maybe you're finding yourself in a bit of a difficult situation, where you're struggling for those resources. This doesn't just need to mean money. This can mean time. This can mean food and water. This can mean health. This can really mean any of those things that basically keep us safe, keep us secure, keep us alive. It's our resources in the world. Your page, for me, this is essentially just saying go back to basics. If you're sitting saying, yeah, what he's saying resonates about maybe not having as much money as what I would like, your page would be saying to you, well, the answer is you need to kind of dial back your spending, take everything back to basics, and make sure do a budget and make sure you're spending your money on the necessities. Think wisely about where you're spending your money. Equally, if we're talking about like time, for example, if you've got like 1,000,001 things to do and you don't have enough time to do them in, then again, dial it back. Make a list of all the things that you think that you have to do. then go through a highlighter and say, right, these are the things that are absolutely necessary. I've got no choice, but these need to get done. And then prioritize what you need to do that way. Hopefully the advice there is clear, but I think it's telling you, you just need to kind of dial it back and really be strategic about how you're using your resources. Your Queen of Pentacles coming out in the end there is a nice card because, things look quite luxurious there. It looks as though things are going to balance themselves out, but only if you, I feel as though only if you take this advice that's in the page, only if you do kind of plan things out as you should. If you're going to go into the week and be like, right, okay, I know I've only got like, this amount of time and I've got all these things to do. Fuck it, let's just wing it and see what happens. Then, you might not necessarily find yourself in an advantageous position. If, however, you do take the advice and you prioritize, you plan things out, then, your queen is telling you that things are going to be fine. Just need to be a wee bit more kind of a strategic. Feels like I'm repeating myself there. I'm repeating words and I'm starting to do that thing where I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And yeah, good luck with the week. It's not all sunshine and rainbows by any means, but that queen coming out at the end is a really positive light there. There's a definite light at the end of the tunnel. It's maybe just going to be a bit of a, going to have to think about how you're navigating it. Okay. So that was how will next week be for Sunbla. So Wild Vintage Soul said, just a move, house, space, country, very lost. Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling lost at the moment. That's a shame. I'm glad the reading did at least resonate with you. Okay. So, whoops, Michelle Lorraine. Michelle, I know you were in the live on Thursday and you'd asked for a reading. So again, apologies that we couldn't do that. Not all of my lives are about doing readings, so that was why. But you've come at the right time tonight because I am just doing readings tonight. So let's look at a general for the next month for your lovely self, Michelle. Okay, Emperor coming out at the start there. The Page is making a reappearance. Do you see that? That was that came out in the last reading as well. The Emperor is a really good energy for bringing things under control. If there's a lot of chaos happening in the next month, then the Emperor suggests that things are going to kind of come into place a wee bit. All right. Sometimes that element of control can go too far, and that Aries energy can get a wee bit intense, a wee bit over control and a wee bit dominant. And that's just always something to be mindful of. You see how the Emperor is sitting with a chess piece. Suggests strategy, but you could also look at that as maybe playing a bit of a game. See, if you look really closely at it, there's cracks in the wall behind the Emperor. That's, to me, what that says is it warns of the dangers of being too set in your ways, being too stringent. Do you know how buildings, high-rise buildings, are built so that they sway in the wind? And that shows that when a massive force of wind comes, it doesn't completely capsize them. That is so that, the wind goes round them, essentially. I believe, like, probably not the best physics there, but that's what that's for. They need to be able to move. There needs to be a bit of give. And that's the advice that always comes with the Emperor. There does need to be a bit of give. Okay, if you're going to kind of be the immovable object when you're faced with the unstoppable force, bad things will happen, and we see that in the cracks in the wall. So just be careful of that. that's an energy that you're going to want to kind of harness it. The Emperor is a powerful energy, and when used properly, it can be great. But just make sure you're harnessing it in a positive way. Your advice card being the Three of Cups. That this to me is like, remember, it's not all business. We are emotional creatures as well. We need to connect with those around us. We need to connect with our friends, with our family, and just generally go out, do stupid stuff, enjoy ourselves. Maybe not necessarily go out. Maybe that's not advice that I should be giving out at a time like this. But by go out, I'm speaking metaphorically. I basically mean do something fun, do something that you just do because you enjoy it, not because it's productive or because it serves any great purpose. It's just because you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself and you're letting off some steam. That's a big advice for you. So do you see how the situation card is like this, like really managerial, that's really structured, that's really kind of a quite stringent energy, and then the advice is, you just need to, go do something stupid and enjoy yourself. Um, you know, bear that in mind because that's going to be important for you. Your Page of Pentacles coming out at the end. So this is an Earth card, which is a very kind of it's all about structure. Things are still looking good in terms of, the control, what you're scared to lose. I wouldn't say that you're going to lose it. Things might seem a wee bit different to you after the month is over. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just because you know, as you grow and develop, your view on things changes. So I do think there's going to be a change in viewpoint. Um, you're maybe going to be able to see um, more room for improvement, more things to do, more work to be done. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not quite getting the message from here to coming out. But hopefully I've said enough that it's resonated. I feel as though the brunt of the reading is with these two cards anyway. This is just the kind of a wee extra, things are going to be fine. This isn't the kind of the Tower card. It's not like everything's going to shit. You're not losing control of everything. You've got a very, very stable card coming out there. So the stuff that you're worried about, don't worry so much about it. Have some fun, and it might just make you see things a wee bit differently, and as the month comes to an end. All righty. So thank you so much for your question. I hope that was okay. I hope that was helpful. That was the lovely Michelle. See, Jonathan, hi. Jamie, thank you, Jamie. Thanks very much to Jamie, Jonathan, Kristen, Regina, all of the mods that are here. I really appreciate it because I know that this wasn't scheduled really. This was just I decided to go live. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And if you've got stuff to do, then obviously I totally understand. Let's see. Kristen, what would it be like if I started taking Aikido? I'm worried about all the time it will require, as well as my pain issues. Okay, Aikido, is that like self-defense? Let me just make sure I'm understanding the question first. So Aikido, I'm sure it's like martial arts or self-defense or something. It's a modern Japanese martial art that's split into many different styles, including Iwama Ryu, Iwama Shin Aiki. Anyway, the point is, it's a modern Japanese martial art. I'm not going to start slaying it just by you know, um, through my ignorance and through a mere Google search, but I just wanted to have a rough idea of what we were looking at. So let's see, Kristen. Okay, there are changes coming up. I'm not sure. I don't know if my cards really like the idea of you taking it up, to be honest with you. Um, when we look at the Ten of Swords, and when you think about what that card represents, that card is this person in this card. They're thinking about all of the pain that they've gone through that journey from Ace through to where they are just now, Ace through Ten of Swords. This is the time for thinking about all of the shit that they've been through and for moving on to the kind of the positive sunrise, the new start. Um, but the key thing is she needs to bear in mind everything she's been through and she needs to learn from it. Okay, because if we don't learn from stuff, then patterns, they happen again. What's the phrase I'm looking for? History repeats itself. So just make sure that you are thinking about the stuff that you've been through before, i.e., like you've mentioned there about like pain issues, and you know, make sure you're thinking about all of that stuff when you're taking it up. So what I mean by that is, make sure you're having conversations with an Aikido instructor. Make sure you're making them fully aware of your position, of the pain issues that you've got, and that you're taking the proper advice. Coming to the advice card here, we've got the Seven of Swords, and that is basically the kind of you need to think about things differently. Don't approach this head on. Don't take the classic approach to navigating this issue, to solving this problem. You're maybe going to have to think about things slightly differently. Um, all too often we see the Seven of Swords represented as theft, as deception, as thievery. Um, sure, it can be, that can be the thinking outside the box solution, the indirect solution. Of course, it can represent some sort of dishonesty, but for me, that's not at the core of the issue. The core of the issue is you coming up with an alternative solution. So again, I don't know if my cards how they feel about you doing this. I don't know if this is simply saying, no, you need to do something different. Um, then again, Aikido to me isn't something that would just come into my mind as a solution, as something to do. So maybe Aikido is the alternative solution. But again, I would just say make sure that you're speaking to instructors and people that are in the know, doctors as well, your pain doctors and whatever, talking to them about it and getting the advice that you actually need. Coming out at the end, we've got the Four of Wands, which does suggest, it's the quite a different energy to the first two. We've got this positive energy. To me, this is achievement, this is completion, this is validation. This is achieving something, and celebrating that. So whatever it is that you're thinking about doing and whatever it is that you end up doing, just know that you're where you need to be right now. You are on the right path. Whether that path is going to end up with you doing Aikido, I don't know. But I know that you're on the right path anyway, and that you know, you're going to have this Four of Wands moment soon. Um, and I didn't really answer your question there for that. I do apologise, but I do still hope that it was at least mildly helpful for you, Kristen. Um, so yeah, you can let me know. You can send me a wee message and let me know how you go on. Let me know if you do take up martial arts, because I'll need to watch myself and make sure I don't cross you. Let's see. Sun Goddess Ari is asking, is there a list? Taking it someone's told you that there isn't. You just need to pop your question in capitals or tag me at Elemental Cartomancy. Okay, so Gods is fair. I said, do I stay at this job or venture out? I'm going to do something a wee bit different with the spread for you. So I'm going to pull a general card to represent the general situation, and then we're going to pull one card for each of the options, and we're going to see what the cards throw out at us for each one. Okay. So this is God's fair, and we want to know stay at the job or venture out. Okay, so the general situation Ten of Cups is a good general situation to be in. You're asking a question about your job. The Ten of Cups to me is reminding me, or reminding you that, you seem to have quite a good relationship situation going on behind the scenes. Behind when you take the job situation out of it, there's a good, a good family relationship, a good relationship with a partner, a good relationship with friends. There is an emotional bond somewhere in the equation that is really kind of a powerful and prominent and, just good in your life. And that is where the cards want to take us. Now, we are obviously still going to pull the cards for each option, but just bear in mind the cards are maybe going off in a slightly different direction to what you've asked. You could be turning around and thinking, oh, actually, the relationship that I've got is with that person that's in my current work. Okay. If, it could be, this could be talking about relationships within the workplace. If you've got all of these amazing relationships just now in your current workplace, then maybe that's where they're drawing your attention to. That's something they want you to think about. But so let's see, stay. We've got the Nine of Wands. I think they want you to venture out, to be honest with you. I mean, the Nine of Wands is telling me that you've pretty much got as far as you've got as much as you're going to be able to get out of where you currently are. Okay. Um, the nine is a number about completion, but it's like, it's the penultimate card in the wands pips, you know, the last one before the 10. Um, So to me, there isn't much room for you to do anything crazy, anything amazing, anything. No, don't get me wrong. The nine is this nine of wands is one of the most powerful people that you will find in this tarot deck. If I can just hold that person up for you, she is capable. She's powerful. She knows her shit, and no one would dare cross her. That's a really good position to be in. So I'm not dissing the current position, but I'm asking you to question, is there room for you to improve much more? If you're looking to progress yourself, are you going to be able to? Is there room for you to progress any further in your current situation? On the other side of that, we see the option for the venturing out, and we do see this another cup card. So we see the 10 and the ace, which are two very closely linked cards. And we see this kind of a new feeling of inspiration, this new feeling of being happy, of being fulfilled, and potentially, a new pressing buttons down here. Hopefully you can all still hear me. A new opportunity to connect with someone. Um, whether that's you might be in a very kind of a customer service type role, and venturing out is going to give you an opportunity to just develop that a bit like much further. Um, it might be that, career aside, you're going to be able to meet someone if you do venture out. It might be that where you currently are is stopping you from being able to pick up on this emotional connection that would be possible if you kind of like I say, venture out and take things elsewhere. Um, so I mean, there's always pros and cons to both, especially when you're looking at career. And obviously, I would always advise that you take the necessary, you know, advice. Can you all still hear me? Because I keep hitting the buttons on my headset, and I'm hoping I've not gone quiet. Just give me a thumbs up or let me know if you can still hear me, if that's okay. I'm going to stick this down at the bottom. Um, so yeah, uh, I've given you some stuff to think about regarding both options. I hope that it was helpful. I think the main thing for you is to think about, where you are just now. Is there much room for progression? Is there room for you to move, or do you feel as though things have you've done as much as you can do? Um, it might be that you're happy with that. You're like, do you know what? I'm happy just to kind of sit tight until retirement time, and I don't really need to I'm quite happy to stay where I am. In which case, there's your answer. You're happy where you are. You then stick with it. But if you're looking for new opportunities, then it looks as though you're going to have to look for something new. Jamie, you've confirmed that you can hear me, as has Kristen. Thanks very much, guys. Okay. Sun Goddess Ari, will I be successful after majoring in genetics, or should I go for another major? So genetics. Again, just bear in mind it's scrolling along the bottom there, but when it comes to questions like this, about your education, about your professional life, all of that kind of thing, just obviously make sure you're balancing this kind of stuff out with professional advice. Always, always, always. The job of a tarot reading is to make you think about what's going on. It can tell you about the energies that are flying around about you. It can make you think about what's going on inside your own head. But if you don't have all of the knowledge, if you don't currently have all of that stuff that you potentially could have, then a tarot reading is going to have its limitations. So just make sure you're taking the advice that you need to. Okay. Oh, that Knight of Pentacles keeps flying out at us tonight, doesn't it? It's just jumped. Will I be successful after majoring in genetics, or should I go for another major? I mean, based on the cards that are flying out, I feel as though you're where you need to be. You've got three major arcana cards coming out, first of all. Let's just talk about that. So these are the kind of the big shot things. So these cards have been pulled to represent your current path, your majoring in genetics. The star suggests that you're right where you need to be. Where you are just now, your journey is guided. Um, I'm sure that you've been helped along the way by people around about you, but it's if you believe in like kind of a divine guidance, the guidance from the stars, guidance from, you know, something greater, then that's telling you that you've got that. The universe is happy with where you are right now. Let's put it like that. Um, this is a time for you to think about your strengths, your abilities, and play to your strengths. If genetics is something that you're good at, then if it's not fixed, if it's not broken, then don't fix it, is what I would say. Um, the strength cards have self confidence. To me, if this strength card could pop out of this card and actually speak to you herself, she would be saying, "Why are you asking a tarot reader to answer this question for you? You know the answer. Just need to have the self confidence to know that you're damn good at this. You've got this, and just keep going the way that you're going." That's what that character would probably say to you if she could jump out of the card. So, and the lovers that talks about choice, but also talks about harmony and this great connection between one thing and another. I feel as though the cards like where you are right now. Um, given that you've got all of these amazing cards, given that you've got the strength card as your advisor, that's telling me that, do you know what? See, if you wanted to branch out and major in something else, then, all the more power to you. But if you're happy with where you are, you just kind of need to be a bit more confident in yourself. And yeah, things are looking good. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Sun Goddess Ari, and I mean majoring in genetics. Wow, that's pretty amazing stuff right there. The jumper as well. The jumper was the Knight of Pentacles, and like I was saying earlier on, that's the kind of I mean, I used words like stagnant, but if we kind of look at the flip side of that, the positives of it, it's the kind of a stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. Just persevere. When you get those feelings of uncertainty, persevere. Um, things are things are looking good. Um, Jade Raven, am I doing the right thing and waiting for my path to unfold and not pushing? Am I doing the right thing and waiting for my path to unfold and not pushing? Let's see. Let's see what the cards think. We'll see what happens. They might come out and tell you, no, you need to grab that bull by the horns and take some action. But then maybe they'll come out and say, no, yeah, you're doing the right thing. You know what you're doing. Keep doing it. So let's see. Let's see what they say. Lovers popping out again. Chariot. Okay. Um. Okay. Let's look at. So first of all, we've got two consecutive cards here. Okay. Um. To me, that is screaming that it's a thumbs up. It's like what's happening right now. It's cool. You're in the right place. Your Two of Pentacles, looking at the current situation, the Two of Pentacles will often come up when you need to. And I was kind of saying this because the Chariot has a similar message, but it's like all of the things that you've got going on in your life just now, it's like you're trying to keep all these plates spinning. You've got a lot of things that you're trying to maintain. And sometimes you need to stop and look at all of the stuff you're trying to do and prioritize it, because the two will often come up when at a time when you are handling things, but it's not maintainable for any long period of time. And what it's saying to you is you need to prioritize. You need to think about, right, okay, I know I'm trying to do these 10 things, but you know there's only 5 of them that I really need to do right now. The other 5, maybe 3 of them can wait until next year or next month or whatever. And 2 of them, I don't even know why I'm doing them anymore. They don't serve me. They don't serve any purpose. They can just not happen anymore. So it's like this is an opportunity to stop and just do some stock taking, do some kind of a assessment of your priorities and what you've got going on. And if there's stuff that really needs attended to, then prioritize that. It's better to do 1 or 2 things brilliant than do 10 things kind of okay, because you'll be noticed for doing the 1 or 2 things brilliant. You maybe wouldn't be noticed so much for doing the 10 things okay. You know, no one talks about the person. Oh, did you hear about wee Jimmy over in finance? Oh yeah, he had those 10 files and he did them okay. Now they're probably talking about, I don't know, Jeanette over in sales who did 2 really amazing sales and brought in all this revenue or whatever it is. Um, so yeah, a bit of an opportunity to stop and think about things. Um, the Lovers coming up quite often, a choice card. Um, so to me, the Lovers is think about do what's important to you. See, when you're doing this assessment, do what's important to you. You might be motivated to think about things from another person or more other people's perspective. So, for example, like, oh, I know that my parents really expect this from me, or I know that my other half, or I know that my boss, or I know that whoever, I know that someone really depends on me and expects me to do it this way. So, this is the way that I have to do it. The Lovers is coming up and telling you, do you know what? You need to think for yourself. You need to act for yourself and do what's in your own best interests. That's the only way to make that choice. When you have that connection to the thing that you're doing, all right, you can't live your life doing what's best for everyone else. At some point, you need to prioritize yourself. Okay. Chariot coming out is a positive kind of a coming out at the end card. It does suggest that those 2 horses, you do have the ability to have them pointing in the same direction. You do have the willpower to drive your chariot forward to get yourself where you need to be. I've forgotten the question that I'm reading for actually. Am I doing the right thing and waiting for my path to unfold and not pushing? So, in essence, yeah, I feel as though we like where you are, but there does have to be a point where you make some of these choices. You know, there's some choices that need to be made. You're not in a bad position right now. You're not in the wrong place right now. You are where you need to be, but you're coming to a point where you're going to have to make a choice. And the strong advice of these cards is to do what's best for you, to think about yourself, and not you know, everyone else's expectations. Alrighty. I hope that that was helpful. Um, let's see. So that was Jade. Oh, hi Simon. How you doing? Lovely. Simon's popped in. Oh, Simon, look what just popped out the card out the cards when I was saying hi to you. The Three of Cups. Do you remember what Jen called this? Um. Anyway, it's lovely to see you. I was going to say something to you just there, but it's popped out my head. Oh yeah, I was talking about my edging of this deck with the Windsor and Newton metallic green. This is how it turned out, and this is how my hands have turned out. So definitely still seeping out onto my hands. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give them a right good wash after I'm done here, aren't I? Right, who's next? Diamond, how does Sagittarius feel about me? I am Aquarius. So Diamond again, um, happy to do a reading for the dynamic of the relationship between you and Sag, between you and Sagittarius. I just not too keen on doing third party readings, so I'm not going to delve into Sag's feelings on you. I will look at the relationship in general if that's okay. And like I'd said earlier, 9 times out of 10, you get the answer to the question that you're looking for. So let's have a look. Okay, so to me, the Magician, again, we've got three major arcana cards. So, I mean, I can see why you're asking the question because I feel as though things are quite hot and heavy. Maybe not hot and heavy, that's the wrong phrase to use, but this is impactful. This is important to you. I can see that. The Magician is telling me that things are very kind of novel. Things are very much at the early stages. Um, you know, I don't even think the person is sure how they're feeling right now. Um, the advice for you is the Hanged Man. So, like I'd said before, this is about taking a different perspective. This is telling you, you know, the way that you're approaching things now, it's not going to move you forward any. You're going to have to do things a bit differently. Whether that's kind of a cool it down and maybe not look at the relationship so much, or whether that is actually take the bull by the horns and speak to Sagittarius yourself rather than just waiting to see what's going to happen. Either way, right now the approach isn't going to get you any further towards where you need to be. Okay. The Empress coming out there at the end is quite a nice card for this type of question. Very kind of a emotional energy. We have the moon in there and the 12 stars. So there is a really kind of a positive outcome there for you. The Empress to me can be suggestive of a whole load of different things. Here, I'm feeling quite cold. Not cold. Like, I don't mean cold in a bad way, but I'm just like, I'm not picking up on a lot of juicy goodness from the relationship from these two cards. And then whoosh, you know, the Empress has given me it all. So things are going in the right direction for you. But bear in mind this hanged man card, bear in mind that advice. You're going to have to do things a bit differently. You're going to have to rethink your approach if you want to get to this Empress state. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope that answers your question. Right, okay, I'm back to where I was because my chat jumped there. Sorry, people. Let's see. That was where Kristen was saying. So, Umaima, Ume. Hey, I would like to know about my professional career. What's upcoming? I'm not working right now. Okay, let's have a real look. Okay, maybe not working right now, but there is some sort of opportunity there for you to definitely do something. You get the Two of Swords coming out as the advice. Right now, there seems to be an aversion to conflict. There seems to be an aversion to actually getting your hands dirty and doing something about the opportunity. Um, there might be a tendency to kind of wait for the perfect job to land in your lap. It might be that you've got opportunities there, but you're like, nah, I'm waiting for things to be smooth sailing. I don't feel as though that's the right approach for you, though. Sometimes you just need to kind of get in there and get your hands dirty. Sometimes you just need to kind of take on a job that you might see as beneath you, or you might see it as not really your ideal job. But sometimes you need to kind of get in there and get active and get moving in order to kind of um, get yourself to where you ultimately want to be. The Two of Swords is telling you right now you're not seeing things as they are. You're kind of entrapped by whatever it is that you're waiting to happen, and you need to kind of free yourself from that. Um, you're kind of stuck in the middle right now of wanting that perfect situation, and because of that, see this seed that is the Ace of Pentacles. It's not going to flourish. It's not going to grow. It's not being nurtured. It's not going to go anywhere. But if you kind of break this stalemate and get yourself out of there, then there is the opportunity to to turn this into something amazing. And bearing in mind, we're talking about career, we're talking about work. I mean, think about the cards that come later. We have cards like the Three of Pence, we have cards like the Eight of Pence that are amazing career cards. Just a couple of nights ago, I described the Eight of Pentacles as being like the sun, as the kind of a sun career card almost. You know, it's like the sun card, but in your career. So it's like the amazing card in the realm of career. So you have the potential to make that happen, but you need to get yourself out of this, out of this current state. The four is telling you kind of the direction that things are currently going in, and that's kind of not really much happening. It's not really a very active card. I still see you kind of in this state of taking a bit of a rest, taking a bit of a step back, not really doing work, which I know based on your question, I know is not where you want to be. So um, your Two of Swords is your key. Is there a choice that you need to make? Or is there an opportunity there that's there for you, but you're either choosing not to take it up, or you're not seeing it because you're things are a bit clouded right now. Break that stalemate. It might involve getting yourself into an uncomfortable situation, but it's unfortunately it's the only way forward right now. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. My hands are absolutely filthy and it's starting to annoy me now. So what time are we on? I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to go for, guys. been going for an hour and a half, an hour and 35 minutes now. But I do know that I have a bunch more questions in the chat. So what I'll do right now is I'll say, you know, whatever is the last question. So cutie cutie. So I'm going to say no more readings after this point. And that way we'll finish up for about hopefully 11ish, but I'll finish off the questions that are here right now anyway. Okay, so what was my next question? That was Mima. We did Diamond's question already. Wawa Zombie says, what's the real importance of the position of the spread versus the real meaning of the card? It depends on how you read, to be honest with you, Wawa Zombie. You know, if you think of it as being like answers to a question, let me think a good example. If the answer to the question is 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes could be a really long time, or it could be a really short time. And it really all depends on the question, okay? If the question is, you know, how long I want you to hold your breath for, you know, if it's how long should I hold my breath for and the answer is 10 minutes, then that's a long ass time to hold your breath. If the answer is how long am I going to be in this next job, 10 minutes is a really short time, right? So the answer to the question is relative to what the question is. The cards are relative to the spread position. So the spread positions that I do, mostly you'll see me doing situation, advice, and outcome. Okay. So if I've got, well, right there, we just saw the Four of Swords as the outcome. And I was reading that as, you know, the direction that you're going in, as things currently are, not much is happening because the Four of Swords is a kind of a rest card. It's a kind of a, you know, not really taking much action, taking your time to rest type card. Okay. So that suggested to me that what was it, Umaima, the way that things were currently going, not much was going to change, not much action was going to happen. If the advice was the Four of Swords, then I would be saying, right, okay, well, you know, the advice here seems to be to not take much action. So maybe you're where you need to be. Okay, maybe you need to be in a place where you're letting yourself rest and recuperate. Do you see what I mean? So that's why, for me, the spread positions are important. But I'd imagine not all readers use spreads, and different readers will give you a different answer to that question. But thanks for asking, because you know, I'm always happy to answer questions like that. That was where you were letting me know you could hear me. Oops. So that was Diamond. We got that. Thank you so much for asking. CC, please, may I have a general love reading, please, for CC? Of course you can. Right, okay, for CC, King of Pentacles coming out as the situation. Oof. Okay. Things are really stable right now. That can be a good thing or a bad thing, but you know, there's not much room for movement. This is telling me that you know, you've either got real comfortable being, you're really comfortable in the position that you're in right now. Whether you're currently, you know, single by yourself, or whether you're with someone that you've just been with for a long time, or you know you've just got to a really kind of a comfortable position. The advice is things need to be changed up. All right. The Tower card is the ultimate change. That lightning bolt brings about change that can be absolutely catastrophic if you let it. It's up to you whether you want to be the lightning or the tower in this situation. If you're going to kind of keep your eyes shut, keep your head in the clouds, then you may well find yourself being the tower and the lightning is going to strike it. And it can really knock you off your feet and keep you out of the game for a good while if you do that. Alternatively, if you kind of look at the situation right now and recognize, right, okay, I know that something has to change. So rather than just bury my head in the sand, I'm actually going to take some positive action here. I'm going to be the change, I'm going to dictate what the change is going to be. I'm not just going to let some outside force come along and wreck things apart for me. Either way, there needs to be that big change. That change needs to happen. So that's the advice. That's pretty strong advice. It's pretty drastic. That tower card, if you look at that poor wee squirrel, his nuts are on fire. So yeah, your Four of Pentacles is the direction that things are currently going in. I mean, there's a stability there, sure, but if you look at what the figure's doing, she's holding on tight to what she's got for fear of losing it. She's looking at, I mean, here it's represent what she's got. The representation is, what's in her bag, what's in her purse, all of the material things that she's got, and she's clinging so tightly to them. She's looking at the poor village behind her and saying, I don't want to end up like that, so I'm going to cling on to what I've got. But see, because she's doing that, she's not concentrating on what she's got. She's not enjoying it. She's not putting any energy into it, and she's certainly not getting anything out of it. So, I mean, it makes you wonder what's what's the actual point? Um, Something needs to give, something needs to change. She needs to kind of stop living in fear. She needs to look down and realize that what she's got is actually amazing and enjoy it for what it is. Or maybe when she looks down into her bag, she goes, "Oh shit, I've not actually got as much as what I thought I did. I need to, stop sitting on this seat here and actually get up and do something." Either way, something needs to change. And that tower card is just kind of underlining that big time. So yeah, big change, and try and be the lightning, try and influence the change. Don't just bury your head in the sand and wait for something to come along and change it for you. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. That was CC, wasn't it? I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope that it resonated. It's Henry. Hi Danielle, how you doing? I'm sorry if there's people coming in and I'm not saying hi to you. I'm just kind of really focused in on the readings that are coming through. Jamie's off ski. Much love, my Chris. See you soon. Hopefully got to run. Bye everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day, Jamie. It was lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming in and helping out. Diamond, you keep posting your question, love. I take it it's just because I wasn't getting around to doing it all that quickly, because I can see at the bottom here you've said thanks. So just so you know, I do get round to the questions when I'm doing this kind of a thing. You don't need to post it umpteen times. See. Simon, yeah, the Big Dicker. That was for the Big Dipper and the Three of Cups. That was one of the funniest tarot playdate, the funniest tarot playdate moment for me. But yeah, right, I'm shuffling and I don't actually have a question. So Diamond is listening. MA Shellfish Tarot says still at it. Yep. Oh, it explains your situation, Jade Raven. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad I could be of help. Jonathan's been here, not been chatting much. Huge happy birthday, Diamond. Hello, thank you. Cutie cutie, allow me to ask something. Please may I have a reading on this? What does A know about me? I suspect he overheard some things I talked about in my apartment. Right, okay. Again, I'll say what I'd said earlier, Cutie, but in terms of third party readings, I don't really feel comfortable diving in on someone else's thoughts, someone else's mind, intellect, and just going at it from that point of view. Now, obviously, this is a situation that does quite heavily affect you, so I'm happy to retweak the question. What I could maybe do is look at, you know, how does whatever knowledge he has, how is that going to affect you? I need the focus to be on you because I don't want to be, as much as I know we're talking about your private business that you think someone has overheard, I don't really feel comfortable just like taking a deep dive right into someone else's head. Um, so yeah, let's ask, whatever it is that A knows about Cutie, how does that unfold? How is that going to affect Cutie? And what advice do the cards have for you? Okay. The advice is the Two of Cups. I mean, so obviously this is information that's sensitive and you don't necessarily want to go shouting from the rooftops about and you don't want the wrong people knowing. Is there a way that you can have a conversation with A and not necessarily say, did you overhear me? Because obviously then they'll say, no, how, what were you saying? And that kind of leads them to probe into what it was that you think they overheard. But you can be tactful about it. You can kind of sound them out to see what it is that they did overhear or no. But the situation here seems to be, you need to take action. You can't just, you know, sit and ask some tarot reader and not actually take any action yourself to find out how it's going to affect you. You're actually going to have to connect. That's the point in the Two of Cups. You need to take action and you need to connect with someone else. So, I mean, you can be clever about it and do it in such a way where you're not kind of revealing any of your cards that you don't want to reveal, if that makes sense. The Death card does suggest that there's change and upheaval coming. There's going to be some sort of change coming up for you in the future. I don't really know how that pertains to the question because I don't know what the information is and I don't know what it means if A does know the information. So it's quite difficult for me to be quite specific here, but what I'm seeing is definitely some sort of journey, some sort of change, that you're going out on. It's going to take you from a phase of planning and preparation and doing nothing to actually going out and, getting in and about the issue and dealing with things. So again, apologies that that's not very specific. But like I say, it's difficult to be specific when you know, when I've got limited information, and I totally understand why I've got limited information. By the way, let me just say, um, like no complaints there. But yeah, you need to connect. All right. There needs to be some sort of connection with another person, whether that's A or whether that's someone else who you'll be able to kind of find out what A knows from. So let me think of an example here to demonstrate my point. Um, right, okay, so let's say, for example, you have a crush on B, right? Let's bring another person into this, right? There's B, and you really fancy B. You're thinking about asking B out on a date. You have a real crush on them, and you were talking to your friend C to in your apartment, you were talking to your friend C about the whole situation, right? But you're worried that A, the person you're asking the question about, has overheard. All righty. This, what you could maybe do is connect with C, the person that you have the crush on, the person that you're thinking about asking out, and saying, "Oh, by the way, has A said anything to you? You know, just sound them out. Has A said anything weird to you at all?" And they might say, "No, no, I've not heard from A since like 2 weeks ago." You know, or maybe they'll be like, they might be a wee bit cagey, where like you can tell A has totally phoned them up and be like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to tell you that." Do you know what I mean? There's a way that you can be savvy about it. I'm sure there's a way that you can go about the issue and ask questions to find out what you need to know. But the cards are telling you, you can't just sit back and expect that information to fall into your lap. You're actually going to have to make some inquiries, do some digging to find out what A knows. Um, so yeah, and there's change happening. There's some sort of journey, some sort of change going to be happening for you. Um, for however the situation turns out. I don't think you're still here, so I can't see whether that resonates. But I hope it does. I hope that that's helpful. I hope that it in some way makes sense to you. I hope it makes more sense to you than it does to me. Um, yeah, you can let me know. If you want, if anyone is looking back, maybe you've asked a question and you've not been able to get it answered until on time. You've had to go away and you're watching live back. If you want to leave me a comment to say that made no sense or that really resonated or whatever it is, if you want to leave me some sort of comment, then please do. I'll change over at my face here actually. I'm on Instagram as well at Elemental Cartomancy, so you can private message me there if you really want to. So follow me on Insta and send me a wee message and let me know. Or email me, elementalcartomancy@gmail.com. But yeah, leave me a wee comment and let me know what you think. And there's my message saying no more readings after this point. So lovely Regina has been here pretty much. You've been here for ages, Regina. So nice to see everyone in a pop-up live. Have to run, see you all around the internet. I'm sure we will. It was lovely to see you. Celtic Tarot Sheila. Hi, Celtic Tarot Sheila. How are you doing, Sheila? Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everybody here. Lovely to see you here as well. Our lovely Hen Henry is needing to run as well. And Jonathan's saying thanks for all your time. You're so welcome. Like I said, I just felt like coming on and doing some readings. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pop up and do one of these lives, because sometimes I just feel like doing a wee live where I just sling loads of cards, because I really do enjoy doing them. Almost feels like I'm going back to my roots, because it's my favourite thing about tarot cards is reading them. Right, guys, I will love you and leave you. Again, thank you so much to you all for being here. If you've asked a question, thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you bringing your questions. A special extra big thank you to all of my lovely mods, the blue spanners that you see in the chat that have been kind of just keeping things going, and just generally being here to support. So thanks. I really appreciate all of you. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I'll hopefully see you all soon.